Greetings, everyone. Welcome once again to the Oz and Crew Reviews podcast. I'm your host, Ozzy. As always, with me is my co-host, Mad Matt.
Hello.
And joining us once again is our friend, Ojunix.
On today's news,
On today's news, I forgot what I was going to say.
I screwed up my line. Quick,
You're a
start
cop,
over.
Cable. I'm a cop.
We can't kind of do a do over. We're live. Shit.
Today we're
If I do
talking.
it live.
Today we're talking about the second Prime Directives movie, Meltdown, which will be very easy to describe what happened in this movie. Um, Robocop at the beginning is still trying to come to grips with what happened with John Cable. Um, for whatever reason, our OCP randomly decides they don't like him, and having turned John Cable into a second Robocop, they use him to frame the previous Robocop for attacking the OCP CEO and destroying her car, and then the entire rest of the movie is just them chasing Robocop. That's literally the synopsis for this movie.
Other deaths and murders to
Yeah.
happen along the way.
There's
and
other
being a couple new people.
Yeah, there's other scenes that occurred throughout it, which we'll talk about, especially Damien's final moments in the movie. We'll get to that eventually. But is I love John Cable's RoboCop voice, like the really robotic sound it has to it,
Mm-hmm.
really kind of like digitized. I like.
I wonder if they did something particular for him, or if it's just that he has that good of a cadence with the machine that they use for the voice.
I think they intentionally tried to make it sound different because it's very apparent that he's supposed to be a upgraded version of RoboCop, so it feels like they probably did something slightly different with his voice as opposed to what they did for Alex Murphy's voice, because it really sounds mechanical in comparison. Um, and I said this while we were watching it, but like the way John Cable's armor looks is how they probably should have just made the armor look in the RoboCop remake that fucking sucked. Because I've looked at that design they actually went with, and I fucking hate it.
Thank you.
They went too sleek and it looks plasticky. What they should have done is kept it at least a little bit chunky and just streamlined it a little.
Yeah, I'm I'm
Well,
I'm
to
I'm,
that to them that is streamlined.
I'm really not looking forward to watching that movie. I've actually seen a couple of clips of
Dun,
it
dun.
recently, so like I'm dreading watching this movie. um, but we will go over the new characters that were introduced in this movie, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the specific scenes that happened throughout the course of the movie. New characters. The big one that we get early on is the character of Anne, who is played by Leslie Hope, and she is the leader of like a little gang of female techno thieves, I guess you would call them. They've all got fancy gadgets that allow them to turn invisible and shoot out like bolts of electricity and apparently super run, though I don't really know how technology would allow you to pretend to be the Flash.
I forget how they do it, but I do know that they try to explain it later.
I just whatever it was, it just and as Ojunix pointed out, the visual effect for it was kind of lame.
Meh.
Yeah, very.
Some of the effects with these characters are where the Prime Directive's lack of budget really stands out. But she's a character we'll talk about more in the following movies. But like for like the few times we see her, she's very obviously supposed to be like the badass woman who don't take shit from no one kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
A character that was, I think, superior in the way they were written as opposed to the more modern, obnoxious girl boss characters that we get in everything.
Yes.
Like, we get more of her personal story as we go, so it's hard to say she's relatable without thinking about the things that I know that are in the movies we haven't gotten to yet. Um, but like she's a decent enough character in this, and as long as she's not trying to twirl her electric baton thingy around.
But she
Yeah,
does
I don't
twice.
know. Yeah, it happens twice in this episode where she has that electrical double blade baton thingy. That I don't know if she was just given really bad directions, if she herself, if the actress doesn't know what to do with the thing when she's supposed to be twirling it, or what. But it just comes off really awkward.
I wonder if it's one of those things where they're like, "Do this," and like she's like, "What? This?" And they did like a number of takes and realized this isn't gonna work. Just use what we got.
Cut around it or edit around it. Yeah,
Like I will admit, like it probably that the scenes with her using that weapon probably would have worked better if she had just like planted it firmly, like she was making a stand, rather than I'm gonna spin this around like this.
and they'll try and look dexterous with it, even though it comes off as clunky.
And part of the thing is, I guarantee you that the actual object she was twirling was probably too heavy for her to be trying to make it look like she had some ability to whip it around. Like if
That
you're,
might be something too. That maybe it was off balance or something, so it was really hard for her to work with it.
and honestly, it probably wouldn't have been that much of an expensive effect to just speed up the footage while she's twirling the thing.
Yeah. I've always believed in the concept that if you don't have the budget to make it look good, don't do it.
Don't do it. Or after you see it
It was
looks
something
really,
more simple.
if it
Yeah.
looks really like bizarre when she's twirling it around, cut that part.
Yes.
Because when
'Cause
she
the
was when she was actually doing physical combat with her hands and fists and like doing grapple moves and stuff, all that looked fine. All of that looked like decent fight choreography.
Basically put together. Yeah,
well,
it's
well,
just
wait.
whenever she was doing the weird loopy thing.
I mean, this is what happens with the staff. First time, she trolls it for a solid second, and then she just uses it to leap herself up to kick Robocop through a glass wall. Second time we see it, trolls it again for really no real reason. Like, there's really no reason for her to be trolling it. She trolls it, stabs one guy with it, and then another guy kicks it out of her hand, and she just goes to hand combat. And at that point, I'm like, why was that even there? Why did she even have it?
Yeah. And the worst thing is the point earlier in the movie where she did the kind of like pole vault thing with it, where she kicked Robocop through like a glass wall, which I don't really understand why there was a glass wall in the middle of the
Well,
room that wasn't actually blocking anything, because you could just easily walk around. That was a weird, but so the camera angle they shot that from was crappy, because you could barely tell that was what she actually did, because you just knew
yeah.
that she did something with the staff and ran into Robocop and knocked him over. It's like, why didn't you do a side shot for that? It would have looked better. Like, it would have looked way better if you could actually see her doing like a jump kick motion, as opposed to just seeing her back and not knowing what the fuck just happened. Man, I'm actually think I'm now ripping into this movie worse than RoboCop 3 when I was defending these before. But I think it's just some of the effects.
It's
Like you
it's
said,
effects. It's sadly it's the budget not holding up to what the rest of the
Yeah.
story is trying to do.
yeah, the writing is all good, and some of the action works well. But
The best action sequences are the two RoboCops going at each other in this one.
oh yeah.
They are smashing through walls, knocking out doors, smothering areas with ricochet bullets, and smashing through windows. Holy moly, they went all out with these guys in those suits.
Yeah, and yeah. Before we talk about the other characters, so what are your guys' opinions of John Cable as a RoboCop? Because even though it's a character from the first movie, it's basically a new version of the character.
It's definitely working for it so far. He's been an interesting new RoboCop, and he's also was an interesting character to begin with. And he's taking a hot moment in this one in particular to finally start to realize what's going on around him and start to break some of that similar code to Murphy down and try and get to a reasonable state and not be a pawn. So he's about to probably realize here pretty quick soon too that his ex has played him big time. Is what I'm feeling too.
Yeah. He has to remember that she's his ex first. Because they did a better job of wiping his memory than they did with Murphy. Because like,
But lucky for him, Murphy has a lot of backups.
yeah, Murphy, basically sent footage into his mind to remind him of who he was, which is how, by the end of the movie, he snaps out of it and stops teaming up with the mercenaries that are going after Robocop, and instead helps fight them off before the movie ends. Do you have any particular thoughts about him, Ojunix? Ojunix?
Don't you next AFK on us? I see a little red dot.
He muted his microphone, so see he is AFK. God,
Uh,
fuck. I can't pause because it's not. I don't edit these.
yeah. We'll get back to Junix when they get back here.
Hold on a sec. Actually, I can pause. Oh, Junix, do you have any thoughts about John Cable as RoboCop?
Other than he's big and shiny. Not a real solid opinion. I mean, he basically is much like how Alex was when he first became RoboCop. He's more machine than man because the programming, and for the most part, he's just following orders. And I guess to some degree, maybe his moment of his human mind starting to click again, much like how Alex had to see one of the people that murdered him, that makes him click. I get, the best bet with him, best with Cable is, well, Alex.
Yeah, well, it's RoboCop feeding the recordings into his head of what happened.
Yeah. My only gripe was it just felt like it was. I get they, especially on a lower budget, they probably wanted to try to make the suspension, well, the viewer feel the suspense. I just felt like it was taking a long time because they were really prolonging RoboCop and the lady hacker getting electrocuted for a good 3-4 minutes straight nonstop.
And then coming back to him repeating some of the same footage over and over again as he looks around for a moment. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we get it. His human brain is glitching. Can we move on to the scene?
It's like one of the old jokes Linkara used to make, where it's like, should we do something? We should do something. Should we do something? We should do something.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it does drag out for a bit. And it's one of those things where, because this was shot for television rather than theater, that was probably literally them trying to fill time for the episode.
Yeah.
They're like, we're at the end of the episode and we got too much time left before the credits are actually supposed to roll. Electrocute them more.
Take more shots of them going back and forth and slow it down.
Yeah, and then have the hilarious effect of the little girl's voice suddenly sounds like a really old man. Mom. I'm like, it's like you just okay.
This particular slowdown reached the fact that you are not looking for producers. I'm sorry about that.
If I wasn't already out of the scene as it is with the this is taking too long, that effect or comical voice just completely threw me out of the what's the word?
The episode.
Yeah.
Just threw out of the moment.
I think we all started laughing when that happened.
Yeah.
And it just completely.
I believe if it wasn't silent chuckling, there was at least a couple loud cackles.
Yeah, like it that did completely ruin the dramatic tension of the moment.
Yeah, there. Yeah,
I know it was intended to intensify it, but it did not do that. It had the opposite effect because it sounded so unnatural and weird.
Actually, what would have been better is if they would have done the slowdown effect, and instead of allowing that to affect the audio, they should have done an echo effect at normal speed. That's how you do that. And that's how they did it back in like Night of the Living Dead. That's how you add a creepy factor of a screaming child and echo.
And since we brought up the little girl, we might as well move on to the next new character, the little girl Jordan, who is the daughter of Anne. That we actually get. I think we get more actual character from her than we do Anne in this movie.
yeah.
We do get that her new little plushy glowing doll toy thing is an
Oh, yeah,
Atomo, which
Atomo.
is a reference and a half.
Yeah, it was.
That's the Japanese cyborg's name too. So it's like, wait, so this has to be the same company. What did they do?
Yeah, it's just really funny because this is my third time watching Meltdown, and this is the only time I've caught that reference, and it's because we just watched Robocop 3. I didn't notice that on the previous viewings of this. I just didn't click with me at all. But it was funny with the scene that led up to him meeting her is Robocop's on the run, and he's walking around in the old Detroit slums, with like a brown hooded cloak on. It's like, did Robocop watch a bunch of Star Wars recently? Like
Much like Clark Kent with glasses, this hooded robe will do wonders for my ability to hide in the public. Also, not unlike those trench coats for those gosh darn handsome Ninja Turtles.
I am not the cyborg cop you are looking for.
Yeah, but mind you, that disguise doesn't really last very long.
No, well, that's entirely because he actually sticks his nose in when
something.
he sees something happening, because some random guy had stolen Jordan's Atomo and was running off with it, and he just sticks his arm out and clotheslines the motherfuckers he's trying to run past.
I mean, overall, at least it still shows you. Doesn't matter if he's on the run or not. He's still a cop. He's still a cop in the heart.
Yeah. And he did have
A cop at heart.
he did have some good wholesome moments with Jordan to remind you that he is a human, not just
There's still humanity in there. He wants to help watch over her. He wants to help protect her, get her home.
Like, when she
saves
tries
her from having her stuff stolen.
Yeah, she tries to follow him after he walks away, and when she comes around the corner, he taps her and goes, "You're it." You cheated.
Just a moment out of nowhere.
Yeah, and just asks her her name, and wants to help her find her mom, and finds out her mom is actually a woman that beat the shit out of him earlier in the movie.
Yeah, she shows up just to beat him up more. I'm like, Lee, what is your issue?
Well, she probably doesn't know why he's there, and after
She's been following them because she saw them at the spot where he helped to protect her.
Yeah, but she might have thought that he was in that area looking for her to arrest her for breaking into OCP. But obviously, once she figures out that that's not what he's there for, and he realizes that she's the little girl's mom, they kind of just have a truce and don't bother each other.
Right.
Jordan will be more important in the later movies. We'll have more to say about her in the future. The last truly new character in this is a guy by the name of Carver. He's the leader of a gang of mercenaries. I don't know why I said gang. A group of mercenaries known as System Control that supposedly were created by OCP specifically to deal with a rogue cyborg.
Rogue cyborgs and or rogue robotic reinforcements.
And we did get a weird name drop because they name dropped Dick Jones. He was apparently the one that created this group, so if he didn't create it with the intention of it being used for RoboCop, he probably, especially after what happened in the first movie with the Ed 209 shooting the motherfucking shit out of that one guy, probably created them to deal with possibly an Ed 209 going out of control.
Yeah.
Because admittedly, like while we see them in combat and they don't stand up too well against RoboCop, RoboCop does also have like drastically better reflexes to move around than an Ed 209 does. Like I imagine if they came at it at 209 from the side and they started shooting it with those electric weapons, it would probably immobilize
Probably
it
pretty
very
quick.
quickly
Yeah.
because it wouldn't be able to react fast enough to do anything about it.
Yeah, I imagine
Right.
it was definitely more intended for Eds than was for Robos, but
But the weird thing is,
it's a weapon that technically is effective no matter what because it's still some of the same basic mechanical parts inside.
right. And the weird thing is when they're initially mentioned by Damien earlier in the movie, the CEO of OCP gets absolutely furious that he would dare even suggest that we use system control, kind of implying that they're this unhinged, barbaric group of people that, like, how could you ever consider using them? But creates a major plot hole. It's like, okay, if your logic is that we could never consider using them, why are they on the payroll? Why do they have jobs?
I'm kind of thinking that system control is mostly meant to be like the equipment they put on the mercenaries and not so much the mercenaries themselves. Is
Maybe.
my thought, but then again, they never really explain it very well either.
Yeah,
So it's
they don't
kind of like a giant shrug, and it's like I have no idea what they're supposed to be doing.
like, as much as I dislike Damien, like, he is the only one there that really had a logical plan for how to deal with rogue RoboCop,
Yeah,
and he
everyone
got
else
yelled
is
at for
pussyfooting
it.
around it, and he gets yelled at for it. And when he is almost successful with it, he gets fired for it. So he does the logical thing, which is kill the CEO
Yes, because at this
and
point,
his possible replacements.
yeah, at this point, because at this point in the movie, this is at the very end, the Saint AI has pretty much full control of the OCP towers systems. So they're having a board meeting right after firing him. Damien has Saint lock the door and crank the pressure and heat up so high that everybody inside just dies. So we actually get to see his. He went. He's been a douchebag for the whole series up to this point. But this is the first just full on legit evil thing he's done
Yeah.
because
This is the first time where he breaks the line into just complete, total, evil, unforgivable asshole, and kills an entire room full of people.
and the thing is, like, I didn't even have to say anything. You guys knew exactly what was going to happen when she told him he was fired.
Yep.
Oh, not even just when she was fired, but when he was fired, but also the fact that he went to visit his buddy in the basement without saying a word about it right away. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
He's being left alone with Saint. This isn't going to be good.
But yeah. Oh,
It is.
overall, the big things that happen in this, we get RoboCop. RoboCop is on the run, and technically both RoboCops are on the run now because John ended up breaking free of his control and helping his buddy. We get some new characters introduced, and Damien is fully evil now.
Twirling that mustache while he controls a creepy robot with a baby face.
And we had some minor moments where, what was RoboCop's son's name again? James Murphy seems to be starting to dig through stuff and realize what actually happened to his father.
Yeah, by the end of the episode, he finally sees the a message that was sent to Bob Johnson, and it was like, "Oh, here's the before and after photos of the new helmet," and it shows Murphy, the new Murphy, with the helmet on and off.
But do you guys? Let's start with you, Matt. Do you have a favorite scene in this one?
Favorite scene. Honestly, one of the best scenes in this was definitely the confrontation between Cable and Murphy. Just the two of them going back and forth. Murphy trying to get his lines in to try and get Cable to calm down and try and reason with him, trying to give him the information he needs because he's obviously still mind wiped. But also just the all these bad digital effects, just to have a bunch of on-set proper effects of them smashing through just this huge set.
Yeah.
And also, I would say that's one of the strong points in the music too, because they have some pretty decently epic fighting music
Yes.
going on with it too. That kind of amps up the emotion of the moment.
Yes. 'Cause the thing is, I mentioned this while we were watching things. I don't think the actual Prime Directives theme was even in the first movie, but
I don't think so
they
either.
actually start using it here. And while it is very kind of generic Western sounding heroic music, like I said, we all agreed it is more memorable than any of the music in Robocop 2.
Yes, it's at least better than RoboCop 2, at least in that aspect on this music soundtrack. But it's still no Robo
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing holding down RoboCop 2 was the soundtrack, like because
Yeah,
that
that was
that
the number one thing for RoboCop 2 is that the soundtrack was very bitterly missed.
now there were certain plot elements that I could say maybe they should have done differently in that movie, but the just lacking any real memorable music did not help. Because
Hmm.
the best thing would always be to actually have the iconic RoboCop theme. But if for
Mm.
some reason you're not going to have that, at least have something decent.
Mm.
Not to mention, with all the introductions of all the different RoboCops in number two, using some of that Ed 209 music for them would have been very effective.
Oh, Junix, did you have any sort of favorite moment in this movie?
Um, do agree, yes and no. It's basically the final fight. Outside of the whole, the part that happens
The
in the
stall,
middle
the
of the
stall that happens at the end of it.
yeah, but the beginning and the end part, where the beginning, well, RoboCop 2, I guess, the easiest way to put it, is Cable is, having his midlife crisis mentally.
RoboCable.
Yes, RoboCable is dealing with realization issues. RoboCop goes off being a badass for a bit, shooting off the mercs off until the little girl gets, or he gets shocked to the point that he can't move, and the little girl gets shocked. And then so of course he's playing body cover for her so she doesn't get accidentally killed. And then when RoboCable finally wakes up, then he pulls out one of his guns
Oh
and
yeah.
starts going to town.
Oh yeah.
Ghost.
Oh yeah.
Just
When
goes.
when when Carver has that oh shit moment.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
unloads his pistol and the cable just gets no effect, and he's like, "Whose side are you on anyway?"
Then he hands Robocop his gun back and goes, "Oh no, I know whose side
Oh
he's
hell
on,"
no!
and
Retreat!
runs.
Retreat! Everybody retreat!
And the one thing I will say about that whole final battle, they did use one of the oldest tricks in the book. We don't have the best special effects to work with, so we will shoot the scene at night so it's less noticeable.
yeah.
I'll also say that electric effects have improved greatly over the last 20 years when they were originally used for a lot 80s movies. So it actually looks pretty decent.
Yeah. And the other thing is like the sparks and the explosions actually just stand out a lot more when it's happening while it's dark.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is much less action oriented and more just I really enjoyed that happened, where
Mm.
where right when the first scene that with him after they've declared him a fugitive, the cops track him down, confront him,
Oh,
unload on him a whole bunch, and then he goes, I am made out of titanium alloy. You are not. Pulls out his gun.
I believe you
Your
are not, however.
your move, and they all just run. They all just say "fuck it" and run.
And the one OCP gal just tries to lip off at him, and immediately he grabs her by the scruff of her shirt, and she's like, "I'm just following orders."
Yeah, and that was
Whose orders?
the sexy evil lady.
White and puts her down just as Cable shows up.
But it's just that their reaction when he said that is literally the first time in a Robocop movie people actually had the reaction they should have had when confronted by Robocop. Fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yep, fuck it, I'm out. He's
Like-
giving me the chance. I'm out.
Like so many criminals or whatever, like, you know, they're down to like the last guy after he's just tore through everybody, and even the last guy doesn't have the sense to just fucking run.
Yeah.
These guys gave it their best shot, had no effect, go, fuck this, and then they're gone.
Hmm.
You take my pension.
So that was my favorite moment in the movie, because it, like, that just felt like that actually happening in a standoff with RoboCop was like a long time coming.
Hmm.
But I think this would probably be the point where we give our final thoughts on the movie. We'll start with you, Matt.
I will say that the fine lines of the budget are definitely starting to show a bit in this episode, but there's a lot still going on that more than makes up for it. Basically any scene that will involve any of the RoboCops is going to make up for anything else that's going on that kind of feels like it runs short. With only minor little hiccups here and there, and also, of course, further expanding our main villains to becoming full-on villains at this point. Because the one guy getting backstabbed despite doing everything that he can to help OCP, and he just goes, okay, well, to hell with the lie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, I will say the music is not great, but it is slightly better than RoboCop 2. The physical effects on this movie are working very well so far for them. Do not lean too heavy in those digital effects because they are rough.
I'd say the digital effects are fine for like the electricity.
The electricity, and that's about it. The weird fast forward thing and the creepy baby face is not working for me.
Yeah, I mean, the invisibility was okay.
Oh yeah, the visibility is okay too. That very much reminds me of like the Predator.
Right. Except there's like a weird green tint kind of thing going on with it. But yeah, I agree. Like, because some of the digital effects are not good, and yeah, that creepy green. What's worse, the creepy robot baby face for the AI, or the creepy digital face for Kane in RoboCop 2?
That's a close one.
Mm.
Like, both of them are just
Creepy.
really bad early era computerized faces.
CG things, yeah.
I say creepy baby face with the Saint thing.
See,
'cause-
yeah, I actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say that while the Kane face is very bleh in RoboCop 2, I can at least chalk that one up to that was the age. They couldn't really do much better than that at the time. Not about a hell of a lot more budget and a hell of a lot more time. Whereas creepy babyface definitely feels like that was a
limitations.
given choice that they went with.
Right. Because it is like, while the overall movie budget is probably lower than RoboCop 2, computer technology will have advanced a decent amount in between movies.
And they chose creepy wire face digital baby.
Yeah. I never understand the desire to treat a computer like it's a child. Kind of weird.
Matrix and Babyface too, by the way.
I will say though, I do hate this creepy baby face less than the Star Child from Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
I never saw it, so I'm glad I didn't.
Be glad.
It has to do with something ruining the entire ending to a fucking trilogy. Well, story for another day. Those that understand the reference will know what I'm talking about, though. Ojunix, your overall thoughts about
Freaking
Meltdown?
Star Children.
Mm, probably better overall on pacing.
Well, yeah, there's no build up to worry
Especially
about. It's straight into the action.
that, and you don't have the villain literally just disappear for 80% of the film. It's like you introduce the Vince AI, you introduce the Robocable, or at least you have the build up to them. Then you introduce them. Then for the most part, they're still there, whether subtly or just in your face. Plot, and outside of the couple of stall moments. Otherwise, the movie overall just felt like it kept on going without completely just halting or just meandering around, going, how do we continue this?
Yeah, because
kind of.
I will admit this one, like the first movie, there's that outside of the big flashback about the hunting down the cannibal guy with Murphy and John,
Mhm.
like the entire like middle of the movie was mostly corporate politics. Because you had the beginning with the scene with the bombs that introduces Bone Machine. Then the whole rest of the movie is corporate politics until the very end, where they got Robocop trying to chase down Cable because they reprogrammed him, and then
Mhm.
ends up killing both Cable and Bone Machine.
Mhm.
This is just focused on Robocop, both of them, for the whole movie, which is really what you
Robocop's
want.
on the run.
Which is really what you want.
Right.
Yes.
I will say my personal thoughts about this movie is that the interesting thing for me, having rewatched these a couple times now, is I've started to realize this movie series is essentially John Cable's story and the original RoboCop's along for the ride.
He's a big player, but he's not the main focus.
Right. And it's and the thing is, because John Cable becomes a RoboCop, it's still not inaccurate to call these movies RoboCop.
Mhm.
Um,
Precisely.
like you pointed out while we were watching it, that the other thing is, and I don't think I really paid that much notice to this before, is that a big part of the story is Alex has been doing this for so long, his body is kind of out of date. Like his parts and everything are out of date. Like he's
It's constantly coming up that his parts are out of date or no longer being made, or they have to piece things together to try and framework a thing to work on it anymore. And then, not to mention, on top of that, it's been 20 plus years. What does that do to a human body that's technically a cyborg inside of this thing? He's already got to be having mental issues just from the stress of watching Cable die recently. But what else is going on in there in that human parts?
yeah.
You don't know. We don't know. They
And
could be wearing down too.
yeah, and so it does kind of make sense to have the storyline be kind of around the idea of maybe there being a RoboCop replacement. Um, and who better than RoboCop's former best friend? If you're going to go that route, and the one thing we didn't point out is the upgrades with him. Aside from the fact that he's much shinier, he's also got two of those freaking auto
He's
pistols.
got two
Yeah.
he's got two of those pistols. They are slightly smaller, but they are two of them, and they rapid fire a lot more.
Yeah.
He also has the dual targeting because of that, and he has a slightly pent up speed, which also allows him to detect possible interactions with enemies before they even decide on their actions. At
And
least that's the way they put it.
he seems to have the ability, uh, similar to another movie we watched, Dread. He seems to have the ability to just change the ammo in his guns. to a different type of ammo.
Oh yeah, he has some sort of like ammo changer in there, which also is a funny fact. Have you guys ever seen the behind the scenes of the original RoboCop?
No.
One of the first suit designs was actually a Judge Dredd design.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they actually went, here's at least a suit to practice with, get it to full size, and let's see what we got here, and then we're gonna pair shape it down from there. And it was pretty much a 1-to-1, almost exact Judge Dredd armor.
Ah,
That's interesting. I had no idea about that. I like.
So
I've heard,
there's little subtle in references everywhere with this franchise.
I mean, I've heard little bits and pieces of some of the stuff that was in the behind the scenes, like the fact that that the RoboCop suit itself was too big for him to wear the whole thing while in the car. So while he was in the when he was shooting scenes where he was in the car, he was wearing the upper part of the suit, but like was just wearing his underwear for his lower body. Like that was crazy seeing some of that stuff get brought up and people that would talk about little snippets of that. Um, but I think that is more or less what we have to say about RoboCop Prime Directives Meltdown.
that's
I will point out now, as I've already decided this, for various reasons, after we finish the RoboCop movies, that is actually going to be the end of the podcast. So I'm just going to shout that out here so that no one's suddenly disappointed when they get to the final episode and find out that we're not doing anymore, for those that do actually listen to us. But next episode will be RoboCop Prime Directives Resurrection, the third of the 4 movies. We'll continue on with that and give you our thoughts. So until next time, everybody, have a good one.
See you all later.
later.